So today's lesson is 7-3, which is solve subtraction equations. You found when you were working on your warm-up, when you were doing your IXL, in order to get the answer to a subtraction equation, what were you actually doing? We were adding. Very good. All right. So I would like for you to first, before we start the lesson, to go ahead and write down these steps. Okay? These are the steps, of course, when you are writing an equation. Okay? Now, when I am writing an equation, when we're writing an equation from a word problem, you guys, I like to make sure that I define the variable first. I like to do this first. Okay? Define the variable first, then write your important information, and then after that, then translate the English to math. Okay? This is the order that I find the most efficient. So for example 1, we want to write and solve a subtraction equation. It says, Catherine spent 75 minutes studying for her science test. This is 30 minutes less than the time she spent studying for her math test. Write and solve an equation to find the time that she studied for her math test. Okay? So, first thing I want to do is define my variable. What is it that we do not know? So we don't know, what it is that we don't know is, write and solve an equation to find the time that she studied for her math test. Okay? So, let's use a variable. We're going to use, can I use M for math?
Yes.
All right, so M for math test. So now we want to see what other important information is in there. Yes? Very good. So she spent 75 minutes studying for science. Okay? And what else is important there? Yes? All right. So it says that the 75, the time that she spent on her science test, this is 30 minutes less than the time she spent studying for her math test. Is everybody clear with that? And when they say this, they're talking about this amount, 75, is 30 minutes less, right? So, how do I write my equation? The math test is what we don't know. It says here that this 75 is 30 minutes less than the time she spent on the math test. What operation is that going to be? That is going to be subtraction. So here we're going to take that 30 minutes and we're going to subtract it from what? From the math test. So M minus 30, and that's going to be equal to the time that she spent on the science test, which is 75 minutes. So now that we have our equation, now how do I solve it? What am I going to do? So we're going to add 30 on both sides. Remember, you guys, we're going to cover up what we don't know. That tells us what we need to get rid of. So we need to get rid of this negative 30. In order to make that negative 30 into a 0, we're going to add 30. To keep the balance on my equation, we're going to add 30 on both sides. Very good. So now, negative 30 plus 30, that's equal to 0. So now we have M for the math test on that side, and then we add 30 on this side. So 75 plus 30 is 105 what? Minutes. Because this is a word problem, right? we need to make sure we label our answer. And there, you guys, if you want to, you can add in your seesaw lines. All right, very good. All right. So, example 1b says, write and solve a subtraction equation. Again, this is the one that you work on with your table partners. So, it says an ebook costs $14. This is $7 less than the cost of a hardback version of the same book. Write and solve a subtraction equation to find the cost of the hardback book. So, what is the first thing we need to do?
Find our
Not the important information yet.
identify
your
identify
unknown. Very good. So what is it that we don't know? What is it that we don't know?
the cost of the hard book.
Right. So we want to find the cost of the hardback book. So what did you want to use for your variable? Everybody good with that? So B is equal to cost of hardback. That's okay. You can use whatever you want, right? You can use whatever you want. All right. What is the other important information in this problem? What do we got? $14 is the cost of the ebook. All right. And then we've got, it says that cost, that $14, is $7 less than the cost of the hardback version. Okay? So, again, $7 less means we're going to do what? Subtract. Very good. So this means subtract. And what are we subtracting from? The hardback version, which is B. Is everybody clear? All right. So that's going to be B minus 7, and that's going to be equal to the 14, which is the cost of the ebook. Is everybody clear? So now we solve it. So you write the equation first, and then we solve it. So how do I get this B by itself? Very good. Add 7 to both sides. These 7's equal, negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So we're left with B on this side. Whoops, let me change to the equals 21. Very good. 21 what? Dollars. Very good. So you can write your dollar sign there. And there is your line for your seesaw. Example 2 says, write and solve a subtraction equation from a diagram. Okay? Now, on this one, you guys, you might want to just watch and then get the notes later. Okay? So just leave a space. So here we have 13 equals x minus 7. 13 equals x minus 7. Now, if you look at, let's look at the algebra tiles first. These are negative 1s over here. This is the x. So this is x and 7 negatives. Does everybody see that? So that means x plus a negative 7 or x minus 7. Does everybody see how that matches the equation? And then over here, we've got a positive 13. So there's 13 positives over here. Everybody got that? Now, when we're using algebra tiles, we want to get the x by itself. Okay? So that means we need to, what do I need to get rid of on this side? I need to get rid of all of those negatives, right? In order to get rid of a negative, I need to put what next to it? A positive. So let me take one of these positives and put this right here. So there's a positive. So this is a positive 1 and a negative 1. What's a positive? A number plus its opposite? 0. So that's 0. So now I have x and 6 negatives, right? So we don't want 6 negatives. We want to get rid of all those negatives. So that's equal to 0. This is equal to 0. So Now we have 7 negatives and the opposite 7 positives. So all of these is equal to what? This is all equal to 0 because it all cancels out, right? But am I in balance? No, because I just added 7 positives over there. What do I have to do on the other side? I have to add those 7 positives to this side. So let me just collect all these positives, and those are the positives that I want to put on this side. Is everybody with me? So now we're in balance because we put all of these positives, the 7 positives that we had over here on the right, I added them also to the left. So now we're in balance. So we know that all of these together are equal to 0, right? So on this side, we're left with x. And on this side, what do I have? 20 positive ones, right? So that's going to be x is equal to 20. Has everybody got that? That's how you use your algebra tiles. Now with the bar diagram, okay, we have the whole thing is equal to x, okay? In order to represent this expression up here, okay, we're going to take the whole thing and we're going to take out that 7. Has everybody got that? So when we take out the 7, when we show this, that represents x minus 7, okay? And then what's left is that 13. And that's how we use the bar diagram to write our expression. Once we get our expression, then we can solve it, right? So how do I get the x by itself?
Or by adding 7.
Right, because this is a minus 7. The inverse operation is a positive 7, or adding 7 on both sides. So when we do that, those 7s, it's a number plus its opposite, that's equal to 0. There's our center line. So we end up with x is equal to 20 again. So for example 3, we want to solve subtraction equations now just using our inverse operations. Okay? So for letter A, we have p minus 34 is equal to negative 425. Okay? If we use our cover-up method, you take your finger, you cover up the p, what do I need to get rid of? Negative 34. And how do I make a negative 34 into 0? Right, we're going to add 34 on both sides, plus 34 on both sides. So, now, this is a number plus its opposite, that's equal to 0. And now we can subtract. So there's my center line. So P is equal to, and what do we have over here? These are different signs. What do I do? Subtract the digits and of the bigger digit. Very good. So this is going to be 1, and then over here we've got to regroup, right? So 12 minus 3 is 9, and then bring down that 3, and my sign is going to be negative. So P is equal to a negative 391. Is everybody clear? Awesome. So letter B, you know what, actually, let's go down to letter C. Okay, let's go down to letter C. Now, here we have a negative 67 equals C minus negative 4. Now, when you have, when you have a problem written like this, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to clean it up. All right? Write this down. Clean it up. Okay? So we have a subtraction. We have minus a negative. If you had plus a negative, I'd want you to clean that up too. Okay? But this is minus a negative. When we minus a negative, we're going to keep, change, change. Has everybody got that? So here, keep, change, change. I'm going to rewrite it. We get negative 67 is equal to C plus 4. Okay? And now this is the equation that we're going to solve. Has everybody got that? So, we're going, and is it a subtraction anymore? No, it's not. Now it's an addition. So, we're going to cover up that C. How do I make that positive 4 into a 0? Very good. We're going to subtract 4. And we'll subtract 4 on both sides. So now this is a number plus its opposite. That's equal to 0. Here's our center line. And C is equal to, now this is negative 67 minus 4. Remember, even if it's one on top of each other, you're still going to do keep, change, right? So we're going to keep the negative 67. The subtraction becomes addition. And the 4 positive becomes negative 4. So now we've got a negative 67 plus a negative 4, and that gives us what? Negative, no, 71. Is everybody clear? All right. So I would like for you with your table partners to do letter B and D. So for letter B, we have 45 plus G minus 91. So here, if I cover up that G, that tells us we need to add the 91 on both sides. You see that? So we add 91 on both sides, and G is equal to 136. Down here for letter D, we're going to cover up that G. That tells us I need to get rid of the negative 4. So, in order to make that negative 4 a 0, we're going to add 4 on both sides. So, now we've got G is equal to negative 10. Over here, because we have different signs, you have to subtract the digits and take the sign of the bigger digit.